So now let's jump into the second project that we want to share information about during this webinar. That project is the 1918 flu pandemic newspaper collection. So as you probably know, our current pandemic isn't the first pandemic that has happened in modern history. Since we've recently passed the 100-year anniversary of the 1918 flu pandemic, we were curious to see how that pandemic and our current times might be similar to each other. So there aren't a lot of personal narratives or stories related to the 1918 pandemic that have been preserved over time. So in order to discover this type of information, we turned to newspaper articles that were published 100 years ago. So the Marriott Library hosts the Utah Digital Newspaper Project that you can access from digitalnewspapers.org. This project has made available digitized newspapers from around the state, starting with the first issue of the Deseret News in 1850, and then some of the newspapers on the site go up through 2019. We currently have around 3.7 million pages of Utah newspapers available on this site, and we should have around 8 million pages available in the coming years, which will then include nearly all of the newspapers from Utah that still exist starting in 1850 up through almost today. So with using Utah Digital Newspapers, we did some searches related to influenza and pulled out any articles that we could find that were published in 1918 through 1920. And that included nearly 1,200 articles, and I'm sure we'll discover some more in the coming weeks as we continue working on this project. So to find those newspaper articles from the 1918 flu pandemic, you can go to the Marriott Digital Library's homepage, just like we did for the COVID-19 collection, at collections.lib.utah.edu. Once you're on that page, if you notice in the middle of the page, right under the search box, there's a link to browse. So if we click on that, you'll be taken to this browse page of all of the collections that we have available in our digital library. The very first collection listed on this page is the 1918 flu pandemic newspaper collection. So let's click on that link. And then we would be taken to this browse page of all of the articles that we have discovered related to that pandemic. On the left side of the screen, you'll see some places where you can limit your search results so you don't have so many articles to look through. You can limit them to a certain year to see either the earlier or later articles from that time period. Or you can limit the results to a specific newspaper within the state if you wanted to see what might have been published within your local paper in your area. And then at the bottom, we've started creating a list of topics to help you discover certain types of articles on a specific subject that you might want to research. So zooming in on that topic list, you'll see that we're finding a lot of similar topics about the flu pandemic that we're discussing today with what's going on. So we've currently tagged about half of the articles that we have found with one of these topics here. So there's still some work to do to finish tagging those articles to help with discovery. But I want to highlight a few different topics that have been popping up in these articles that are interesting and related to today. So first includes articles about wearing masks. Just like today, people 100 years ago were told to wear face masks. This article here from the Ogden Daily Standard even included a little song to sing to the tune of If You're Happy and You Know It. So everybody sing along. If you think you have a flu, wear a mask. Then if you look further down, you'll see the second verse. If you think that you're quite well, wear a mask. So they were being told the same kind of things that we are today. And this is a song that we should all learn and you can sing the next time you go to a store or have a family party or anything. Another set of articles that we've discovered are about developing a vaccine. Some doctors back then were warning people that even though initial vaccines seem like they might be working well, those vaccines really haven't been thoroughly tested, so they don't know the exact end results that they'll have. Or the government was warning that all new vaccines are really just experimental. They may lessen the incidence rate of the flu, but really they provide no cure for symptoms, which people were hoping for. Another interesting topic is with folk remedies that people were coming up with, where people might have been using bootlegger's rum or a lemon or cayenne pepper tea to help them smash the influenza bug and cure them of their symptoms. Earlier this year, Logan Mitchell, who is a research assistant professor in the Department of Atmospheric Sciences at the U, was doing some research on the history of air quality in Utah, and he came across several newspaper articles using Utah digital newspapers that were about the 1918 flu pandemic. So he started putting together a document of these articles related to that pandemic that he thought were interesting. After he had talked with some people in the library, we decided that this would be a great opportunity to collaborate on a digital exhibit with Logan using a lot of the content that he had discovered. This digital exhibit isn't quite ready to share with the public yet, but we hope to make an announcement about it in the coming weeks, so stay tuned for more information on that. So that is our information that we had to share about the 1918 flu pandemic newspaper collection that we've been working on.